This year marks 25 years that my wife and I have been reselling online. We have learned so much along the way. Reselling is a lot of work, and I want to share with you 21 brutal truths about reselling online. Number one, not everybody is going to appreciate what you do. And my advice to you on this is that even for those people that see you as the scum of the earth, it is okay for you to leave those people behind. You can't educate everybody about what we do because some of those people don't want to be educated, and it is okay for you to leave them in their ignorance and for you to move on forward. Number two, the time investment required to do online selling is huge. And one of the biggest mistakes people make as they go into this and hope to create it as a business and to turn it into a living is that they underestimate how much time it takes to do this properly. So don't go into this blind. And number three, this isn't a job that's going to make you wealthy overnight. This job requires a lot of time, but I'm of the belief that building a business slow and steady and intentionally is truly the way to do something that is going to provide for you for the long haul. You can build something that is sustainable. And number four, mistakes are going to happen. All of us make mistakes while we're learning. And as somebody who used to teach elementary school, it required a lot of patience as kids were learning to do things. And my advice to you, because you are going to make mistakes the same that I made mistakes, is to allow yourself the same grace that you would somebody else who's learning a new task. Allowing yourself a little bit of grace takes some of the pressure off as you learn to grow this thing. And number five, here's a harsh truth for you. You are the worst that you will ever be at sourcing right here, right now, today. If you go into this job and you learn as you go and you keep building on what you're able to find and able to do because you know more about what to look for and what it is you like to sell and you're able to sell, you're going to get better and better and better at this. And why that's important? Today is not the day to fill up your entire inventory by buying every single thing that you find, because you're going to be better at it tomorrow. Number six, burnout is real in this job. We run out of gas because this job can take up every single moment of your day. Because we love what we do, it will completely fill your schedule. And the hardest part when you have your own business is taking time off and not feeling guilty about it. That is so crucial to schedule guilt-free time off, because that time allows you to rejuvenate and to come back in with way more energy than if you just stuck with it 24/7. Number seven, pictures are worth 1,000 words. You have heard this again and again and again in your life, and it is never more true than when you are reselling online. I don't want to spend the time it takes to write up a lengthy description when I can take really clear, accurate photos and accomplish way more than making a very, very complete description that nobody's going to read. I need my description to be accurate, but I need the story of the item that I'm selling contained in those pictures. It's the first thing you need to upgrade as you start selling online. Is your product photography needs to grow and become very accurate, very easy to duplicate. You need your photographs to be something that you become very efficient at in making something that's really clear what the buyer can expect. Number eight, emotional attachments happen when you love what you're doing. I will go out and either fall in love with the person that I'm buying it from and their story, or the item itself, I'm able to rescue it from someplace and I fall in love with it. But if I fall in love with it to the point that it doesn't sell because I'm hanging on to it so tight, then I'm hurting my business. So remember that it is so easy to become emotionally attached to things when we're doing this, but you have to let this stuff go in order to grow your business. Number nine, sales slumps are a part of this job. And depending upon what you sell, that will define some of the slumps. We sell a lot of vintage clothes. They don't sell very well at Christmas, but that is not a downtime for us. I look at those downturns that are completely natural. That is a time for Melody and I to refocus and refuel and then reload. We're able to clean up our inventory. We're able to get new stuff listed and be ready when that ball starts rolling again. So downturns are natural, but turn those into an advantage. And number 10, constant learning is a requirement. I talked about it a little bit when you're sourcing, but it really truly applies to every aspect of this job. You need to be learning all the time. Stay curious. Stay up to date on what's working for your business and what isn't working. Because when that curiosity dies and you stop learning and you stop growing, it's probably time to quit. So keep that alive in your business and you're going to find much more success. And number 11, I want to talk a little bit about trends. I call this the shiny object syndrome. What you're going to find if you watch a lot of YouTube or Instagram or any one of the social media platforms, there's going to be trends that everybody follows, that all of the resellers are all moving in the same direction. And I'm going to tell you, be very cautious of that. Think about it. If you were at a water park and everybody goes to the pool, if you go with them, you're just going to wind up in a very crowded pool that somebody's probably already peed in. So don't be afraid to go your own way and forge your own path. I think you'll enjoy it much more. Number 12, man, have I experienced this one a lot. So think about it. I started on eBay in 99. And in 99, we ran auctions. Everything was an auction. And people wrote you checks. And it was the Wild West. And auctions went for a lot. And you just never knew how much money you were going to make. And sometimes it was insane. And the people would actually send you a check. And then you would mail it off. The transactions took weeks. And between 99 and 2024, there have been a ton of changes. And every single time they happened, they sucked. I hated all of them. Your beloved platform is going to change, and it's going to suck. But here's the reality of it is, if you compare 1999 eBay to 2024 eBay, 2024 wins hands down every single time. Even though I hated change, they've created a much better platform. And I feel the same way on, we use a lot more of Facebook Marketplace and Poshmark and Etsy. The changes have all improved over time, even if individual ones didn't stick. So your beloved platform is going to change, and it's going to end up being okay. Number 13, pricing is tricky. One of the things about pricing is that you're never sure what to list your item at. But if you're willing to learn, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to price something too low and it's going to sell too quick. And in that is a terrific lesson. Even though pricing is tricky, it is also a tremendous tool for you to control the sell-through rate in your own store. So think about that as a learning opportunity when you're trying to come to the right price, especially if it's something a little bit more rare. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, because we're not in this for a single sale. We're in this for the long haul. And while pricing is tricky, it's also a tremendous tool. All right, number 14. You do not need another project. And I say that as somebody who has bought too many projects. Look, when you're out sourcing for this job, some of what we need to be able to do is to do this efficiently so it doesn't take up all day, every day. And while no one loves to save an item more than I do, I can't save every item. And sometimes when I'm out, I don't need another sweater, no matter how cool it is, that desperately needs repair. I don't have to clean a $20 hat when I can find $20 hats that don't need cleaning. So I'm telling you right here, right now, brutal truth number 14, you do not need another project. Number 15, we have been guilty of this, and that is the perfect listing does not exist. We get so caught up in analyzing our listings and looking at them and trying to have everything perfect. And it won't ever be perfect because I can't know how a customer is going to go through that listing. Some of them aren't going to look at the pictures. Some of them aren't going to read the description. What I need to do and what you need to do is to get as close to accurate as we can and get it listed and then move on to the next one. The listings don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good. And in releasing that perfection gives you the freedom to get more done in a more efficient manner so that people can find the stuff that you're trying to sell. Number 16, profits are so easy to overestimate, especially if you're just getting started. If I sell a $100 band tee, I did not make $100. If I bought that shirt for $35 and sold it for $100, I didn't make $65. And if I take the cost of the shirt minus the eBay fees and minus the shipping, I still have to account for my time. Did I have to drive a long way to pick this up? Was it part of a lot? Was it 15 garage sales and it's the only thing I found? It's so easy to overestimate how much you made. Be very aware as you're going into this to not overestimate. Try to keep track of how you're doing so that you don't end up with any surprises. Because being surprised financially is typically a bad deal for a small business owner. All right, number 17, difficult buyers exist. Anybody who's telling you that aren't any, they're not selling anything. Occasionally, you're going to come across somebody who's really, really difficult to make happy, really difficult to deal with, and maybe they're not even trying to do things right, that they're trying to do things wrong. And my advice to you on those people is to don't make them business partners with you. It's okay for you to do what you need to do to get them out of your lives, out of your business, and out of your mind so that you can move on to the vast majority of customers who are terrific. Number 18, your social life is going to suffer, especially your work social life. Because for most of us, we are either working by ourselves or in a team of two. Most of us who are reselling online do not have large teams of people. So let me tell you what I do. The first thing I do as a reseller is I'm looking at who has a business that's where I want to go, because I want to talk to them. I want to move in the direction that they've already been. And I also want people that are wanting to be where I'm at behind me, coming with me. With that, I can build camaraderie with other people that are doing the same thing, because it's going to be really important to have that kind of support when you are working by yourself all day, every day. And number 19, consistency is key. In my previous life, I was a school superintendent and I worked 70 hours a week for the last 12 years of my career. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's probably not as much as what I do reselling, because I wake up and I do reselling. But here's the great part, and also the warning. The great part about reselling online for yourself and your own business, you can take off whenever you want. You want to take a break and go somewhere, you can do that. Here's the downside. You cannot take off every time you want. You can't put the business aside, because guess what? When you leave and don't do this job doesn't get done. Nobody's doing it. If you work alone or in a pair like Melody and I, there isn't anybody running the store when we're not here. So consistency is key. Even though you can take off whenever you want, you're going to have to go to work. And you're going to have to be there on a regular basis, getting the job done. Number 20, impulse buying is a problem. One of the keys to being successful as an online reseller is to make sure that when you buy something, you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to sell for, how long it's going to take to sell, what it's going to cost you in time and effort to get it listed, as well as dollars that it costs. Impulse buying are those times when you're out, you see something and you're like, wow, super cool. I don't know how it's going to do, but I'm going to buy that. Sure, sometimes those gambles are going to pay off. But a lot of times you're going to end up with stuff at the house and it's going to start accumulating. And then you're going to end up getting it to somebody else or donating it. So be very careful with impulse buys to make sure that you know what that item is going to sell for and how long it's going to take to sell. And number 21, and this is genuinely a brutal truth, reselling is tough. Like, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of competition. But I'm talking to you directly. I want you to stop and think about everything in your life that has happened before you're sitting here watching this video. You have probably overcome a lot of stuff. You have probably walked through a lot of minefields to get here. You have probably overcome more than most people would ever dream that you've had to do. So yes, reselling is tough. You are tougher. You can do this. I appreciate you watching. That's it for this one. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.